Welcome to the Real Estate 401k Show. Here are your hosts, Ryan Gerdes, Mike Weinstein, and Justin Frederick, helping you build a legacy of wealth through real estate. Powered by the Recon Group at West USA and the Frederick team with Fairway Mortgage. NMLS number 625918.
Well, this is the Real Estate 401k Show with your host, Mike Weinstein, alongside Justin Frederick and my partner, Ryan Gerdes. Today is, it's the day after Thanksgiving, so it's Black Friday. Are you guys Black Friday type people?
I'm super excited for football today.
Oh, my gosh.
I cannot believe that they're going to do this. So this is the best thing that's happened to the NFL
It's the
in
best
a long
Black
time.
Friday
I'm so
ever.
excited.
Yeah.
My wife's like, I can go shopping all day. And I'm like, absolutely. I will be home watching football.
Dude, I'm excited just because it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, college, Sunday, NFL, and then Monday. Basically, what do we get, like 5 days
5 days of
straight?
football.
Plus all the leftovers that we have, you
Yeah.
know? Unbelievable. This is going to be great.
We always do leftover paninis. Try it, dude. You're going to love it.
It's not bad. It's actually, I'm not hating the idea.
Oh,
No.
It's
No.
fantastic.
Oh, what I'm going to do, I'll one up you. You ever heard of a hobo cooker?
No.
So it's for camping, and it's like a iron, little bucket that looks like that you would cook paninis in or hot dogs in or whatever the case is, and you clasp it shut, and it's got a long stick and with a metal handle at the end, and you put that into your campfire and you cook anything with it, dude. Freaking cherry, turnovers. It's amazing, but it's a freaking when you're camping. It's a great way to make a panini. So I got that fireplace in my house, and I think I'm going to do paninis, but I'm going to do it with the hobo cooker.
Do it, and then you dip it in the leftover gravy, and you're welcome.
All right.
Yep.
All right, I got to get out of here. I got to get
I feel
that
like we spend half of our time talking about food.
we should just do a whole different podcast. Get rid of real estate, building wealth, and let's just talk about about food.
You want to know my next big podcast idea? Is we're just going to be like those assholes commentating on NFL games.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like we're like
Like the Manning brothers.
Well, but they can't cuss, and they're too smart. Like I think
They know too much about
They know
football.
too much about it. So for guys like us, we know enough to know enough, but like not so much where we're gonna be drawing up stats. 25 years.
Oh,
ago,
I'll draw
such
all
and
over that shit. I'd
Yeah.
like to. Give me one of those yellow pens.
Yeah.
Well, my next podcast idea, and I like that one. I just want to have one called dumbassery. I just
Talk about
the shit that I see on
Oh,
a
yeah.
daily basis when I go to the store, I go to the bank, or like every time I go to the bank, or every time I go into Circle K, that person in front of me is always that person in front of me that takes forever. Cashing out lottery tickets or, coming in with a bag full of change trying to deposit into their checking account. I just see some crazy stuff, some stupid stuff that I need to get off my chest.
Yeah, I feel like that we could go all day about that.
I don't
And
think that you're gonna have enough time to actually go out there and witness all the dumb stuff because we'll just be doing a podcast for 8 hours straight, talking about what you saw for 1 hour that morning.
All right, so how about this? Instead of football, because we could do this on one day, on Black Friday, and we would get enough video footage for the entire year. But let's just go to 3 separate Walmarts, hang out there all day with our video cameras, and just videotape people on Black Friday at Walmart.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
That's-
I wouldn't
yeah.
even. I don't even want to go on the road on Black Friday.
I've never been shopping on Black Friday. No.
I have.
I did one time. We went early in the morning to get a gift for my daughter, and I'll never do it again just because of the madness and the dumbassery.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are 4 minutes and 5 seconds into the podcast, and we haven't even talked. We haven't even talked about real estate. You're going to want to go ahead and text the word "buy" to 623AZ-RECON because this really kind of fits into a lot of our strategies. But what we are seeing over the past several months, especially in the month of September, in the Valley here, 1 in 5 pending homes, meaning a home now goes under contract, buyer and seller, a meeting of the minds, 1 in 5 are falling out of escrow, meaning those homes are now coming back on the market. that's an incredibly high number. So I'll start with you as to what you think it is, because you see it on the lending side, and then Ryan, your thoughts on just how this is presenting right now in the holiday season, a prime opportunity for buyers.
So, and this, keep in mind, this is according to Redfin. So Redfin, very similar to Zillow, but I feel like this number is actually probably pretty low from what we've seen the past few months.
Well, this is September, so I'm saying I think it's been getting worse.
And I'd have to agree. I'd have to go back to September numbers to look at it. But this month, we had 17 contracts to close this month, and we're down to 11. So that's 6 that have fallen out. So we're roughly, in the 40% range. But yeah, and a lot of it is, some of them are due to lack of the agent doing homework up front. And some of them are due to the benzers and the inspections on these properties. So yeah, we're seeing this happen. It does say, according to interest rates now, I feel like in September was definitely had a lot to do with interest rates, because we had a lot of big interest rate hikes in September. September was a rough month for interest rates. So was the end of August. But fortunately now it seems like we're on the downhill slope here, and people are tending to hold and float their interest rates, which is nice. So we're not seeing the fallout from interest rates so much anymore. Just do those benzers.
All right, so I'm going to divert a little bit, Ryan, because prior to the show, when we do our 30 seconds in show prep, Justin was mentioning a lot of these are falling out due to inspections, and you just made the comment that's just bad agents. Not all agents are created equally, and it's one of the things, our job as real estate wealth managers and our job as agents is to do everything we can to keep the deal together, because there is so much creativity to be had. But when you're not working with someone who knows how to negotiate and knows how to be creative, oftentimes, buyers just like, I'm walking because of X, Y, and Z, or sellers like, yeah, I'm not fixing anything.
So I'm gonna tie these both in together.
Okay.
So what demographic is most affected by steep interest rates?
You tell me.
All right. Well, then let me ask the next question. What's the demographic of the people that are most highly affected by challenging benzers or inspections?
Lower income individuals.
People don't have the
first time or second time home buyers. People that are new to buy in real estate because they got their asses kicked when they were trying to go compete against all the cash buyers back in 2020 to 2021, right? And so now they're actually having the ability to get their hands on a contract, and they're doing 5% down. So they don't really have that experience. Furthermore, a lot of them are going for broke, just closing on something because they got their 5%, right? And then now I need to come up with another $10,000 to fix a roof or fix flooring or fix a whatever. And then on top of that, they have a steeper interest rate when they were already dancing at 45% back end DTI, because that's how they could squeeze in there. Right. So they have a very hard time taking that deep breath, saying, "Hey, look, you don't need to eat this elephant all at once." Right? Just step back, understand that you're going to need to take a little breath after you close, get some jack back in your pocket, and then start slowly doing the repairs that you need to, or using some of these awesome financing programs that are out there that are going to give you some of that that runway in order to get those things that need to get done right away. But tying back into some of these agents, I mean, I have conversations with a lot of agents all the time, and I'm just like, hey, look, here's what our strategy is here, and this is why we have it postured the way that we do. We're not putting down a massive amount of cash because we know that we have $30,000 worth of work in front of us. So it's not that we're a soft buyer, right? You might be inclined to look at this other one where they're putting 20% down, but let's have a conversation about what all that looks like post-close, because if you're buying a resale home, more often than not, it's going to need work. And I run into so many people, so many agents that just they breeze over the year built on it. and it's like, hey, look, you're buying a home that's 30, 40 years old. It's gonna have some issues, and it's not because anyone did anything wrong or anyone was trying to screw anyone over. It's just what it is, and so.
All right. Well, if you are looking for strategies and really, a team that truly knows how to negotiate this process, you might have been one of those buyers that, fell out of escrow, whether you're either the buyer or the seller, and just for some reason, the agents weren't able to come together and help you make it happen. We would love to have that conversation with you. All you got to do is text the word buy to 623-AZ-RECON. That's buy to 623-AZ-RECON. We often assume, Ryan, that people know exactly what we're talking about. Explain what the Binzer is, because we've thrown that out a couple times, and people might be listening going, it's just their normal gibberish that I hear every week from these guys.
So in most every single purchase contract, there's what's called the due diligence period in it, and that's all layman's terms for the inspection period. And that period can range from anywhere from a couple of days to our boilerplate is 10 days on a residential home. And so you have those 10 days to go in there and find out what's what. Right? And so you're going to get an inspector in there. You might get an AC guy, might get an electrician. You're also going to want to look at all the other factors that are there in the neighborhood, whether it's schools, fire, police, shopping, how close it is to utilities, all those other little intangibles that are part of your decision-making process. So during those 10 days, you're going to have that ability to look at what's going on in the home. After that, you have three options. At least here you have three options. Option number one, you can tell the seller, you know what, don't touch it. We love it. We're going to move forward with the transaction. Door number two, you know what, we're finding too many high-ticket items. We're not comfortable with the transaction. We're going to cancel. We're going to get our earnest money back and go find another opportunity. Door number three, we're going to essentially renegotiate, okay? And then the way that you elect any one of those three options is through the Binzer, the buyer inspection notice, seller response. Every single state and and a lot of different MLSs, and just kind of depending on where you are going to have a different name for what that document is. We call it the Binzer. So that's what we're discussing.
It's really funny. We have a client and Justin's helping them with the loan. So we got under contract in this home, and the home was over 30 years old. So I was really expecting that the inspection would come back with a bunch of stuff, and we have a very set process and a very set system that we do on how we negotiate these things. And when was the last time we had a buyer cancel the contract? Because through the Binzer, it has been a long time, because we just know how to keep the deal together. We know how to negotiate these things, and help our clients out. And inspector comes out. Anthony Cucci's team with HCP Home Inspections comes out, and I show up, and he goes, there's just nothing here. He goes, this house is like really.
That's like the greatest bad news ever,
right?
And I'm like, okay, well, we got to find something. I need to get my buyer some cash, just, because I got to get
what you
something.
do.
That's just what we do, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going through this inspection report. The inspection was so short. And I'm like, all right, listen, guys, you're going to get the inspection report. I just want you to list everything that you want the seller to fix or you're going to have to fix, because I've got to put something down, right? And so they did, and I kind of came up with my list. And so our process is we always wait till day 10 to send it in. And I always pick up the phone and call that agent to let them know this is what you can expect. Because if it's a serious Binzer asking for $20,000, $30,000, you can't send that over without a courtesy call. You got to prepare them. And the agent's like, I don't even want to talk about it until we see the Binzer. I'm like, really? I'm like, all right. So I send over the Binzer. And day one goes by, day two goes by, and I'm calling her. And finally I get her on the phone. I'm like, okay, I've been trying to have a conversation with you because I know your seller's out of town. The house is vacant. Our buyer will take seller concessions. And she goes, I'm not going to tell you what they've discussed. You're just going to have to wait for us to send over the response. My goal was $1,000. I'm a hero if I get him $1,000. That's how clean this inspection was. This agent wouldn't tell me. She wouldn't tell me anything. And I'm like, crap. I mean, I'm trying to negotiate this verbally. So she finally sends it over. We got $2,500.
$2,500.
No,
That was great.
nice.
I didn't even have a chance to just say, hey, we'll take $1,000.
I don't know. I love getting my buyers more money, and I love giving them more than what they feel like they stepped into. I also feel like sometimes I look at those things and what's not always there is the relationship afterwards. Case in point, we have a good friend, Jacob, and he was buying a place.
He's all right.
I mean, he's a great dude.
He's all right.
And the sellers were very, very smart, intelligent people, and they knew everything about this place. And we went through the inspection process, and there were some things that were there, but we had already known it, and it was one of those things that we had already spoken about before we even put the contract down. And so we knew that if we tried to go to fight them on it, they would just get a bad taste in their mouth. Well, we just accepted the property as is, and for about 18 months after we closed, the sellers came over and helped them fix things, brought them dinner. Like they ended up just being ended up being a fantastic relationship because there was a lot of moving parts on this property. There was like 2,500 different trees on there, and they don't know anything about taking care of these things. They would have paid thousands and thousands of dollars paying people to do things that they just didn't quite know how to do. So there is an element of I don't know, the intangibles there that do need to be taken into consideration before you go after a seller for tens of thousands of dollars, which we could have done. But as it all turned out, I mean, they ended up getting way more in the long run. So you have to take it on a case by case basis, but just knowing what you're saying to a seller when you send that inspection notice over to them, it is important.
Well, back to what we were originally supposed to talk about. So 20% of homes it's looking like 20% of homes that are under contract, that in pending status coming back on the market. Ryan, Justin, for me, what this means to buyers, especially during the holiday season, is when a home goes under contract, that means that home is still on the market. And depending on how that agent handles the status on the MLS, it's still accruing days on market. And one of the things as a buyer you should be taking a look at is, because all these homes are coming back on the market, how many days on the market? The longer the home is on the market, the better the shot you're going to get a stellar deal on the home.
I love being the second, third, or fourth buyer walking in the door.
Absolutely.
So if I'm looking at 3 homes and 2 of them are new on market and one. Maybe it only has 2 days on market because it immediately sold and then came right back on. I'm going to go for that one that just came back right back on. A lot of sellers just they get in a little bit of a panic and they start making emotional decisions and they're usually willing to give us a better deal. And then a lot of other buyers are deterred from it. Well, what's wrong with it? Well, there could have been nothing wrong with it. It could have been bad agent work. They could have been victim to the interest rates. They could have there could have been a plethora of different reasons, but every single time that we see a home fall out of escrow, typical buyers, immediately think there's something wrong with it. And that's just not the case. And so ask questions, dig a little bit deeper, and just understand that once you take the data and make decisions off of that, you're going to be one leg up on everybody else.
All right. Well, we have a lot of very specific strategies that we implement when it comes down to negotiating whether the inspection items, negotiating price, negotiating seller concessions. If you'd like to talk to us and have a discussion about our strategies and on how we can help you build wealth in real estate, all you got to do is text the word BUY to 623-AZ-RECON. That's BUY to 623-AZ-RECON.
Thank you for joining us on the Real Estate 401k Show. If you want more information on how to build wealth, click on the link or text us at 623-297-3266. That's 623-AZ-RECON.